we go. What up? Once again, your friendly neighborhood shit talker is here. No worries. I got a really weird topic today. It's not going to be the full thing, but I read that the Microsoft Excel World Championships are going, and I've heard stories that this is like really interesting to watch. So I found a video from the XLA esports channel about the quarterfinals. So let's watch one round and see if like all the hype is worth it.
A bit, but we are going to see. Here we go. We're starting off with Ha. I really liked Ha's intro there with the belt down the tunnel. That was pretty impressive.
That's right. He's stolen one of Giles's fur coats, which is great.
But discarded it halfway through for the belt. That was cool. So it looks like Ha is looking at this list here of these tunnel pieces. This is pretty cool how this tunnel is mapped out. We saw it at the beginning with the case animation video. But before he gets to the tunnel, level 1, it looks like Ha is going for level 1 here. And relatively simple. What's he doing here, Tim?
So the first thing he did as soon as he hopped in the game was convert the inputs into tables, right? And that's just to make it easier to refer to in calculations. That way you can just have references that you can just copy down. You don't need to worry about moving them around. You can refer to things really easily, so it just saves some time, a little bit of investment to start off with.
Yeah, it looks like we have some early points on the board with Ben, Gene, and Ha, all with 80. Oh, and Calvin as well. So this, as Andrew said, these first levels, these competitors at this level are going to get through these fairly quickly and put some points on the board pretty quick. We do have the bonuses in play, though, so that is something we'll look out for to see if anyone goes for the bonus points.
That's right. You can see Adam Carter and Washington have both scored 35 points. That would be for the first bonus question, I imagine.
Okay,
what
so
is
smart
this?
Strategy to go after those first, possibly. We never know, as we're seeing the detail here. Also looking down to
this doesn't really open that well if you're watching this and don't understand the rules, though.
level 2 now. So he's got level 1 cleared. You can see that at the bottom right corner. He's got level 1 cleared, and now looking at level 2. Level 2 brings these tunnel tiles in. What are these tunnel tiles, Tim? Those floating in the cell there.
These tunnel tiles, these are amazing. These are Unicode characters, right? So Andrew's done some great digging work to try and find.
Can we find like an? Oh, here we go.
Discovered a new board game, Vlooky Tour, in which he must build and navigate a system of tunnels inside a mine, pathing his way towards valuable resources. He enjoys playing the game with his French cousin, Vlooky Tour, coincidentally named after the game, who tries to prevent Vlooky from reaching the resources. The game board is created by the players, placing tiles onto the grid of cells. We are joining Vlooky and Vlooky Tour mid-game, when they have already created a game board.
Okay.
Vlooky's objective is to move through the tunnels in the mine from the entrance to one of the further edges and gather valuable resources. The full list of game tiles is provided in the Tiles tab. There are tunnel tiles for building tunnels and resource tiles that Vlooky needs to collect. Each resource tile is worth a specific number of coins. For each tunnel tile, you are given its list of connections corresponding to the top left, bottom right sides. For example, for this tile, the connections are 1011, meaning that this tile would connect with other tiles from the top, bottom, and right, but not from the left. The case has 140 questions of 7 levels of difficulty and 5 bonus questions. Plan your strategy wisely. Good luck.
Wondering what's flashing on the right side there.
And so this is
As
what they're
keys and
doing.
Shortcuts. So obviously at this level, you got to be fast.
That's right. A lot of.
What are the prizes of this? Learn more about the battles. Practice Excel esports cases. I'm not that good with Excel anymore. I used to be way better. But it's hilarious that you can actually like play that yourself. Oh, they have some proper links that doesn't work. Nice.
Of the pro competition.
No bonuses.
Now, I want to highlight something about the previous.
My eyes are hurting watching this.
Doing all the calculations across one line. And that differed from one of the earlier screens where we saw calculations going over multiple lines, right? And so because all the questions are given to you one row at a time, if you can do all the calculations across one line, then you just fill it down, right? You just copy the formula over and over again, 20 rows, nice and easy. But for a lot of players, they'll find that
Getting my check-in. Hey, Doc Tucker.
You can't fit that many calculations.
Thanks for the
in
Go
one line
Popular
without
heart.
running out of space. And
This is Excel World Championships, which they compete in Microsoft Excel. And it's kind of baffling to watch without understanding it properly, but apparently it's really popular at the moment. Like, there was a news article even. It's the golden age of spreadsheet geekery. So it's a proper esports. It's a proper esports. For a few years now, spreadsheet masters have been working hard to get their hands on the wrestling style UK and World Championship belts that are awarded to the winners of Microsoft Excel Championships. And in the west of England, the race is to find the new talent to galvanize the esports growing popularity. What up, bloody farts? What up, Richard? So what is competitive spreadsheets? And how did Excel become a high-flying, high-stakes esports inviting players worldwide to win thousands of pounds? This has been a thing for a long time, but I think because of the age of the internet and like esports, I think it's now they are able to make it a bit more appealing. What does a round look? During game, competitors are given files to jumble data and scenarios or cases that require sorting based on questions with the quickest time. At the start of the first round, they all send an Excel file at the same time and have 30 minutes window to answer as many questions in that file as they can. That sounds wild. So what are the prices? $60,000, which is 45,000 pounds for those in the UK. $60,000 for winning a spreadsheet World Championship. And I saw that the finals are gonna be tomorrow.
just running out of visibility of what you're seeing.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it's actually better. Here we can see he had about 80% of the questions right. We can see Calvin's got about a third of the level 3 questions right.
Yeah.
Now this is an interesting thing. Calvin's looking ahead to level 4 as he was looking, and that's always a dangerous thing when it comes to these sorts of challenges, right? Because all these levels build whether there's a little bit of gamesmanship going on here, right?
How so?
Because all the people have to get their points by submitting answers and copying them into the website, right? But just because they've solved it in Excel doesn't mean they have to submit their answers.
Very true.
And so, people could be sandbagging here right now. They could be, deliberately keeping a low score or just not putting their answers in, and just like suddenly getting 1,000 points by, getting it straight away, copying all the answers.
That's an interesting strategic aspect of the game. Is like you write the formula in a separate spreadsheet ready and wait until the last moment and then just at one. But there's always the risk that there's something wrong in your formula, it doesn't work. So that's a bit of a really high risk strategy to play this.
It's risky because if you make a mistake, then you don't get that feedback straight away, right?
Right.
I suppose what they could do, they could copy answers in and then delete the answers afterwards. You can try and cheat that way, but I
wouldn't call it cheating. It's just one strategy, like a different way of playing the game.
I personally would rather see how I'm going in the moment, and
as we saw we saw the scoreboard there flash just a second. It looked like Dearman was in the lead with 540 points. So you're right. If sandbagging might not be the strategy here, it could be risky. But as we see Timothy working through a giant spilled array here, trying to figure out what's going on with level 3. Got one answer right. Oh, now we're moving over to Adita. Also at 200. Right.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go to the
4, a couple of points to level 5.
Yeah. It really tells you how
Same tools have performed. And between the Hail Mary of Excel Esports, right?
our sport for sure.
When you don't know what the answer is, you just take a punt, give it a shot, copy it in, and look, one of them is right. There you go.
There we go.
Right.
Now just kind of guessing, just seeing if we can get something here. Calvin, with just a few seconds, just over 30 seconds left. Calvin's got 460 points right now.
I mean, that's not a proper way of doing it. Like,
7, just gonna do some ram between, and this is probably smarter if you're gonna do ram between. Why not do it on the level with the most points, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And look, the game, so Andrew's created a bunch of hints to give you some idea. You know, game 1 to 1 hint in the top left is an answer between 110, 120. So if you're gonna ram between, choose those numbers to ram between, right? Don't waste time choosing random numbers outside that.
Yeah, very good. All right, audience, we're going to need your help and count it down in 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. You see Gene cruised into.
so that last section was like they were just randomly picking numbers that they're gonna choose. Okay.
Have performed.
Yeah, well, Jack in 4th again, and Dearman in 5th. Okay, and again, this is quarterfinal number 1, so we're going to take these.
There's a lot of countries participating here. There's no Ireland though, so there's nothing for me to cheer, and there's no Finland here, so I can't cheer anything. So no Ireland and no Finland. Finland, to be fair, is a bit of a shocker though. I would have guessed that at least like one person from Finland would be here. They're the sort of like people who are kind of, well, I could, oh, that, no, that's Ireland, so I can cheer, I can cheer that. True. Weird esports. No, probably one of the weirdest I've seen so far. Let's start with the student protest. So there's protesting going in Finland. So protesting students call on Finnish universities to cut ties with Israel. The Students for Palestine movement organized demonstrations on Wednesday in Helsinki, Tampere, Turku, and Kuopio. A coordinated campaign of walkouts and demonstrations by students began at university campuses across Finland on Wednesday afternoon. The protests were organized by the Students for Palestine movement, demanding that Finnish universities commit to an academic boycott of Israel and cut off the flow of finances to Israeli universities. Demonstrators have taken place in Helsinki, Tampere, Turku, and Kuopio, with smaller support events organized at the University of Lapland and the University of Oulu. While an estimated 200 students participated in the protest in Tampere, Jarmo Takala, vice rector of the University of Tampere, told Yle that university currently has no links to an Israeli universities. Tapio Määttä, rector of the University of Eastern Finland, meanwhile noted that the university has some older cooperations agreements with Israeli university, but no active collaborations that could be cut off. A petition published by the movement called the University of Helsinki to sever all ties with Israeli institutions, in particular all 15 EU-funded Horizon Europe research projects. Esa Hämäläinen, director of the administration at the University of Helsinki, said that EU research projects fall under the domain of academic freedom for researchers, but he added that researchers have a right to choose not to cooperate with Israeli entities. However, the Students for Palestine movement said that ending research cooperation projects would send an important message from Finnish universities that human rights violations are unacceptable. Students have previously opposed Helsinki University's cooperation with Israeli universities, for example, in May 2024, when protesters camped outside the city center campus. This led to the university suspending a student exchange program with Israeli universities. So, protests and standing against human rights violations work from time to time. Not always, but from time to time. And I do think that, yeah, students once again are showing like the rest how it's done. You don't need to work with countries that commit human rights violations and war crimes. You don't need to work with them. You don't need to cooperate with them. Either they could, that it would be easy, like they could just stop doing that. They could stop violating human rights and they could stop committing war crimes. Easy as that. And before anybody says that these protesters are anti-Semitic or that they are against Jews, that is not the case. The protesters in Finland, as the students, they are against the government of Israel, because it is the government of Israel, not the religion, that is attacking and committing human rights violations and war crimes. So what the students are protesting is a country, not the religion. Those two things are different. It's the same thing, like if you think about it, United States is a Christian country. So me bashing Trump or me talking bad about the policies or the government of the United States, I'm not bashing Christianity while I'm talking bad about the United States. It's the same thing with Ireland. Like if there were policies or if I was dissatisfied with the government in Ireland, I'm not bashing the Catholic Church. I'm not bashing like Catholic Christianity. Like this is the thing that this conversation is really toxic at the moment. From one side is that for some reason you can differentiate government, you can differentiate country and religion in any other nation. There's 195 countries in the world, 193. And in any other country, when you criticize the country or their government, you separate the religion and the country and the government. But for some specific reason, this one country, every time you criticize their leader Netanyahu, or you criticize the country or the government for committing war crimes and crimes against humanity, all of a sudden it's lumped together with the religion, even though, for example, I can talk by my own ideas and my own opinions. I don't hate any religion. I'm not a religious person myself. I'm an atheist. But I'm one of those that think that, yeah, you can believe whatever you want to. I don't believe that. Like, I don't believe in any higher being or anything. You can believe it. And I'm fine with it. I don't need to bash your religion or bash your belief. You can do whatever you want to. That's fine. So my criticism of Israel isn't based on religion. It's based on the acts that the country and the government is doing. And so are the protesters, the students in Finland. And they're also just demanding an academic boycott. Of course, a lot of those protesters in the universities are also the ones that are protesting Israel's government as a whole. And I do applaud that. That's one of the beauties of having freedom of speech, that you can do that. It is in your rights in Finland and in a lot of Western countries to express your freedom of speech by protesting. And I think that's okay. It's not the first time the students of Finnish universities are doing this. As we can see in 2024 as well, they had the student protest. Students began a pro-Palestinian demonstration on the University of Helsinki campus on Monday. So this is 2024. That actually worked because the University of Helsinki decided to suspend the exchange with Israeli institutions. So that protest worked. Good job on that. The University of Helsinki has announced a suspension of all student exchange programs with Israeli institutions. The university said it made the decision as a response to the high civilian death toll during Israel's operation in Gaza, on the catastrophic deterioration in the humanitarian situation in the territory. The university noted in a statement that it was committed to helping rebuild Gaza's higher education and research system once that is possible. And because of the acts of the government and the leaders of Israel, students in Israel are suffering because their opportunities around the world are getting hindered because they can't stop the killing. They just love it too much. They just love taking innocent lives too much. And that's the only explanation I can give. Like, as I read, like, almost every week, we read more and more news about them killing children and women and, like, innocents, civilians. And then they make some bullshit reason to justify it. So no normal person would be doing that on a weekly basis. So you must like it quite a lot. And I feel bad for the citizens of Israel and also the students of Israel, because it is lowering their opportunities around the world, because their government is a blood-hungry, mass-killing monstrosity. And I also feel bad, like, because there are bad people in the world, 100%, especially in the US, there are, and in Europe, there are bad people in the world who can't separate the country, the government, and religion. So the bad people in Europe and the US, they are lumping what Israel is doing, and they're blaming the religion, which is not what I'm doing. I am not blaming the religion for what the government is doing. The same thing, I'm not blaming Christianity, what Trump is doing. I'm not blaming, what would be another example? I'm not blaming Islam for what Al-Qaeda or ISIS are doing, you know? Because you have to remember, those religions, all of the religions that I mentioned, and there's more, they are big in numbers. Islam has like 1.6 billion people, and Christianities are close to 1 billion as well. So condemning the whole religion based on few bad actors wouldn't serve any purpose. And you have an agenda if you do that. That's why when we have a conversation about, for example, Israel and Palestine, and when we see a country and a government doing heinous things to children and civilians, we need to talk about the government and the country. And whenever somebody tries to hide behind the shield of religion, we need to point out that, hey, the religion is not the one doing this. It is the humans in the government and the country itself. Because I reiterate what I said a while back. One of the most effective shields against criticism is hiding behind religion. Especially, hiding behind religion. So if you ever want to be protected for crimes against humanity, war crimes, you just hide behind a religion, and you will get a lot of praises and you will get a lot of support. I think that's a coward's way out, though. If you can't admit that you are happy to kill people, and instead you hide behind a religion and say that, hey, what you're saying is anti my religion, you're a coward. Stand tall, as that one minister from the Israeli government that actually said that he's happy to kill human scum. That's a horrible thing to say, but at least he didn't hide behind a religion. And I do know that religions don't hate each other that much. It's humans usually. Humans are horrible. They're just happy to treat each other really badly. Did you know that we got some new Epstein photos? So, one of the world's favorite topics gets more, which is Epstein. And we are getting closer and closer to the deadline that Trump has to make a decision. Which is kind of sad that they gave like that 30-day deadline to release the files. Because as we know, they are probably going to redact quite a lot of the information. I wish it would have been like when they voted, immediately the next day we will get the files unredacted. But it is coming really, really soon that Trump needs to make a decision. That if he's going to release the files or veto them. He can still veto them. He has the right to do that. So, new images of Jeffrey Epstein's Caribbean island home have been released by the Democrats in the US Congress. The pictures and videos show bedrooms, a room with a dentist chair and mask hanging from the wall, and the words power and deception written on a chalkboard. One picture shows no trespassing sign, while others show a landline phone with a speed dial list. Some of the names have been redacted. I want those names unredacted. The Democrats on the House Oversight Committee called the pictures and videos never before seen. The committee ranking Democrat Robert Garcia says they form a disturbing look into Epstein's world and have been released to ensure public transparency. The U.S. Virgin Island, where Epstein's 2 private islands were located, providing the files to the committee following a subpoena for the content on 18th of November. Let's have a tour. Okay, we're not having a tour then. No worries, I have another one. So, this is the first one, which is the dentist chair. And there's a bunch of masks. Can't really recognize any of those. There's a few, like, figures that look weirdly. There's a turtle on the counter there. This is one of the pictures as well. Power, reputation, plants, music, time. I do hate that they are still redacting things. For example, this photo of the phone. Like, I want to know who is on the New York office and whose cell phones and offices are these. I presume, this is just me, I presume that those names that are redacted, they are so unique that they would be easily recognizable. And that's why they are redacted. That's just my take, because like there might be multiple Darrens or Mikes or Richies or Patricks or Larrys, so it doesn't really make sense to redact them. But I'm curious, what are these redacted ones? And this is the issue when we have a sitting president that originally campaigned for release, but once information was provided that his name is all around them, all of a sudden called them a hoax. But as we can see, the files do exist, even though Trump said that they are made up by Obama, and then he said that they don't exist. But all of a sudden, there's files. So, for some reason, he's trying to hide it. So I want all of these redacted, so we can see who actually was there and was mingling with Epstein. House Democrats released a handful of photos and videos Is this the Dropbox? Oh, we have them in a Dropbox. Oh, god damn, that's nice. We have a beautiful Dropbox folder. Who's that? Oh, this is the tour.
Interesting, nice and warm in here.
That's an interesting shower room. Come on, download faster. I wonder how many people are watching this at the same time. There we go. Now we can see them a bit better. So this is just one of the bedrooms. It's interesting because I remember allegedly there was a picture of Bill Clinton in drag in the Epstein Island. I wonder where that is. Was that a hoax? I kind of lost like track because there was so much coming out during that time. But this specific phone raises more questions than answers. And I want those answers. New York office could be Epstein's own office. It could be also somebody, I don't know, a real estate tycoon. We don't know, so we can speculate. That specific redaction could be 5 letters, could be 4 letters, could be 6 letters, could be Bubba, could be Trump, could be somebody else. That's a really short name, has to be. That's like 3 letters long. Okay, so we know. Depends on the width of the letters as well. Oh, I love this. But at the same time, I hate it because we should just get the unredacted names. Especially because majority of the victims are already have said that. It's fine, just release them. But I do have to say, consider like what sort of a millionaire Epstein was. This doesn't look that like luxurious. So, power, deception, time, day, music, papers, intellectual, political. Were those written there afterwards or during? And who the fuck keeps a chalkboard in their house like that? Of course, if you're throwing big parties and you have like important guests, that could be kind of handy, I guess. No trespassing. Okay, so those were the files. And we have another one at 3 hours. Oh, we watched this already. Because we have to remember that they tried to sell this. Okie dokie. So, private Caribbean island on Wednesday offering a rare glimpse into a secretive place where Epstein is alleged to have trafficked young girls. The new images and videos show Epstein's home, including bedrooms and telephone, what appears to be an office or library, and a chalkboard on which the words "Fin intellectual deception and power" are written. One photo shows a room with a dentist chair and mask hanging on the wall. The New York Times reported that Epstein's last girlfriend was a dentist who shared an office with one of his shell companies. The videos appear to be walkthrough of the property. Not fully though, just a brief glimpse of it. The materials released on Wednesday were from law enforcement authorities in the US Virgin Islands. They were taken in 2020, the year after Epstein died by... I'm going to say that because Epstein was probably still killed. So they were taken in 2020, the year after Epstein's died. End of story. Epstein owned 2 islands in the US Virgin Islands, including Little St. James, which some locals told the New York Times they had nicknamed Pedophile Island in 2022. And the Attorney General of the US Virgin Islands reached a settlement for more than $100 million with Epstein's estate after the alleged dozens of young women and children were trafficked, raped, and sexually assaulted and held captive in the Virgin Island of Epstein's secluded private island, Little James. Even though the images and videos released on Wednesday do not reveal anything new, they appear to be an effort from the Congress to keep the pressure on the Trump administration ahead of the December 19th deadline for the Justice Department to release the files. A bipartisan group of members of Congress on Wednesday also asked the U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi to provide a status update. These new images are a disturbing look into the world of Jeffrey Epstein and his island. We are releasing these photos and videos to ensure public transparency in our investigation and to help piece together the full picture of Epstein horrific crimes. We won't stop fighting until we deliver justice to the survivors. Epstein. Breaking oversight Dems have received never before seen photos and videos of Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah, we saw this already. Do not be distracted and stay loud. Donald Trump is going down. Well, to be fair, he was like, I already touched upon this. This is not news. Like, Donald Trump was a Democrat. Jeffrey Epstein was a Democrat. Both were in the real estate business, so it would be just logical that they knew each other and were really good friends. So, not a shocker though. There are a bit too many photos to just say that, hey, we weren't really friends, we were just like acquaintances. There were a bit too many photos together. Breaking Trump name in $310 million lawsuit alleging Epstein-style trafficking scheme. What? President Donald Trump has been hit with a $310 million lawsuit in Palm Beach County accusing him, Elon Musk and Bill Gates, of participating in an alleged trafficking venture that plaintiffs claim that mirror Jeffrey Epstein's operation. Nah. And the unnamed plaintiffs accused Trump of grooming the lead plaintiff since '98, using the Gates Foundation as a cover and participating in coordinated assaults. They also claimed the plaintiff's infant daughter was taken from her as retaliation. What? I don't believe this. Okay, there's no credible news source of this. Raw story is not SSB crack news, is it? Like, yeah, I don't buy that. I don't think that's true. We just can't make things up. We need to like still be civil and try to stick with the truth. Justin bipartisan group. Well, this is what we heard already. That they want an update from Pam Bondi. But Pam Bondi is too busy to just hide everything and redact everything. If Epstein files are a hoax, why did Speaker Johnson fight the bill? FBI spent $1 million trying to redact. Pam Bondi give out binders. GOP oversight subpoena estate. The Justice Department open investigation, and Donald Trump sign Epstein bill. I fucking love Thomas Massey because like Trump has been bashing Massey so much. That's so hilarious. Yeah, that Zelensky argument is insane, but where's the Epstein files? Oh my god. I can't wait. It's still a few weeks, and then we'll get the Epstein files. But the unfortunate thing is, like, Elon Musk is, for example, trying to hide all the interest about Epstein files in X. Speaking of Trump, we got an update for the Trump's envoy in Russia. They were kind of just escorted out. They took a tour in Russia. Like the Kremlin officials showed them the good side of Moscow, and then they were like interrogated, like how did they like Moscow, because they were shown only the good parts of Moscow. And of course, Kushner and Witkov were like, "Oh, we loved it here. We loved it, how clean it is, blah, blah, blah." Yeah, fuck that. Fucking round tongue noses. Russia says no compromise rates in peace talks with US. So maybe you shouldn't have sent your son-in-law there. Russia and the US did not reach compromise on a possible peace deal to end the war in Ukraine after a 5-hour meeting between Russian President Vladimir Putin and US President Donald Trump's top envoys, the Kremlin has said. President Trump has repeatedly complained that ending Europe's deadliest conflict since World War II has been one of the elusive foreign policy aims of his presidency. The US president has at times scolded both Mr. Putin and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Talks in Moscow between Mr. Putin and Mr. Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, in conjunction with his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, lasted until after midnight. After Mr. Putin's top foreign policy aide said compromises have not yet been found. I think because Kushner was there, they were just probably talking about how can the Trump family make money. That's why they didn't talk about compromises and getting a peace deal. Yuri Ushakov told reporters at the briefing in the Kremlin that there is still a lot of work to be done. Mr. Putin reacted negatively to some US proposals, Mr. Ushakov said. Mr. Witkoff went to the US embassy in Moscow after the talks to brief the White House, he added. Mr. Ushakov said that a meeting between Mr. Putin and Mr. Trump was not currently planned, but he said the talks were constructive and that there were huge opportunities for US-Russian economic cooperations. One thing I want to point out. Remember when Trump gave Zelensky until Thanksgiving to make a decision if they would accept? That was also a lie in hindsight. Once again. Well, first of all, Trump forgot to talk to Putin about it. There was no deal. But Trump said that there was a deal. So he was just trying to force Zelensky to do a really bad deal for Ukraine. He added that they had discussed the territorial problem Kremlin shorthanded for Russia claims to the whole of Donbass, though Ukraine controls at least 500 square kilometers of the area which Russia claims as its own. Almost all countries recognize Donbass as part of Ukraine, as it should. Some American draft proposals look more or less acceptable, but they need to be discussed, Mr. Ushakov said. Some of the formulations that have been proposed to us are not suitable for us. That is, the work will continue. Mr. Witkoff, a billionaire US real estate developer who has known Mr. Trump since the 80s. Yeah. Our people are over in Russia right now to see if we can get it settled, Mr. Trump said yesterday in Washington. Not an easy situation, let me tell you. What a mess, he said, adding that there were casualties of 25,000 to 30,000 per month in the war. Wait, where is everyone else in the live? TikTok limits my lives for some reasons. So it is really rare that there's people anymore in the lives. Ever since I started covering news, TikTok has, at the start of every stream, they are limiting my reachability. Good thing I showed up though, 100%. It's always fun to have somebody to talk to in TikTok. But it's Wednesday. Wednesday is usually like kind of a chill day. Yesterday was wild though. Yesterday there was a lot of people in YouTube to keep me company. Hi, how's your day? We can jump straight from the Russia says no compromise to the European Commission's plans of reparations to loan. These are kind of tied together. So the European Commission plans to reparation loan to Ukraine using frozen Russian assets, which is 100% a thing I agree with. I saw the live was at 0 people, so I hopped in because I know what it's like to be lonely in them. I like talking to myself. That's why, like, I do that all the time without the cameras and without everything, so I talk to myself all the time. Some call it insanity. It's just like, it helps me think about things. So it is fine, but thanks anyways. I immediately, when we started freezing the Russian assets in Europe, my opinion back then, like a few years ago, was that we should use those frozen assets to fund Ukraine. So I'm happy that we're finally doing it. I know Russia is not going to be happy about it, but then again, if they don't want this to happen, they should have not attacked Ukraine and stolen their areas back in 2014. So leaders focus on bolstering Ukraine's finances as US-Russia talks to end war make little progress. The European Commission will move ahead with controversial plans to fund Ukraine with a loan based on Russia's frozen assets. I don't even think it should be a loan. I do think that they should just give those frozen assets to Ukraine. I'm still absolutely confused by how you look like Ozzy Osbourne when he was just starting his music. I kid you not, it's the glasses and it's the straight hair. It is like, the funny thing is, like, for years I was compared to Gordon Ramsay because I had short hair, because I also have those forehead wrinkles that Gordon Ramsay has, and for years I was compared to Gordon Ramsay, especially without glasses. My nose is a bit bigger than Gordon's though. So I'll rather take Ozzy, because I do like Black Sabbath and I do like Ozzy Osbourne. And I was super sad when Ozzy passed away. I'll gladly take that comparison to Ozzy instead of Gordon Ramsay. Gordon Ramsay is a bit of a dick though. But Ozzy, To be fair, Ozzy was kind of a dick when he was younger, but then again, if you take all the drugs, not just use cocaine or weed or heroin, you take all of them, it might change you a bit. I don't know, I've never used drugs, but I would assume if you're high all the time and drunk all the time, you might be a bit of a dick at some point. But yeah, I do think that we would have needed Ozzy for a few more years. But unfortunately, Ozzy got sick with Parkinson's, and it spread quite fast. But I was happy to see he was happy in the last concert that they had. Ozzy mainly had isolation problems years ago. That's mostly why he was on the premium package. Oh yeah, that is true. The last concert of Ozzy was really like, I wasn't there live, but I was so happy to see that they actually streamed it live. So I watched the live stream of the concert through and through, and seeing Ozzy being happy and like, because at that point it was really hard for him to move, and you can see that he was trying to like stand up so many times because he was enjoying the show. That just broke my heart, because he was just like a kid again, like just wanting to party and have fun with his friends and celebrate, but he couldn't do that. I love what, same here, I love how he was on his black throne on Sabbath, which is what he called throne. Oh yeah, like it was just magical. And I feel for the guys from Black Sabbath, because it's really nice that they fixed all their differences before, especially with Tony Iommi and Ozzy. Even though they've toured together like years before for a brief moment of time, but they still had like that bit of a schism between them. So I'm really happy that they, because like Tony Iommi, like NIB and Children of the Grave, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, all of those. What else were there? Hotel Caravan, like all of those classic like Black Sabbath tunes. I grew up with them. I don't understand why his band would betray him like that. It really wasn't fair on him. Yeah. But to be fair, there's a silver lining on this. If Ozzy didn't leave Black Sabbath, we wouldn't have gotten all the bangers that Ozzy did on his own. Like, there's so many good songs by Ozzy as a solo. Of course, you have the classics like Crazy Train and Mr. Crowley and Mama, I'm Coming Home. But then you have like Miracle Man, No More Tears, Shot in the Dark, Bark at the Moon, Mr. Tinkerton, oh my god, Flying High, Over the Mountain. Like, there's so many good songs from Ozzy as a solo artist. Patient Number 9, one of the newer ones, is also a really, really, really good banger. That, I don't know why, but I really like that one. We Don't Know. There's so many good songs from Ozzy. And I do say that Ozzy got to experiment a bit more when it came to like his solo band than in Black Sabbath. It's the same thing when like Dio was by himself instead of like in Rainbow and in Black Sabbath. Like Dio's solo stuff is so freaking good. Ozzy's solo stuff is so freaking good. I do think that going solo, or having to go solo, or going solo is like a blessing in disguise. It might not feel like that when you're doing it, but considering what they created and what sort of a legacy they created, like for those two especially, it kind of paid off. Of course, you have the bad stories as well, that when going solo goes wrong. For example, when Bret Michaels went solo from Poison. Not Poison, what was the band he was in? He wasn't Poison. Alice Cooper was in. No, it was Poison. There we go. Thank God I was born in 2007 to witness Ozzy on TV in 2011. It was awesome. I have to say that for a brief moment when Osbournes was a huge thing, I kind of hated Ozzy because it made Ozzy look so fucking fragile and weird. This moment in time, when the Osbournes was a thing, I really didn't like Ozzy Osbourne anymore. Like, I was a huge fan before it, but for some reason during this, he was hilarious, don't get me wrong. He was fucking hilarious in that TV series. But he was so goofy and out of character that that period of time, like the 2000s, I was like the hardcore heavy metal guy. I was playing guitar in a heavy metal band. Like, I was like living that life. So seeing one of my idols goofing around in his pajama pants, trying to use a satellite TV, I was like, I don't need this shit. Like, they shouldn't do this to Ozzy. This is torture. But afterwards, I kind of enjoy the silly side of Ozzy, because Ozzy has always had that silly side, but I was too young to understand that. So, yeah, usually the big companies with the music composers try to dilute the singer into what he isn't. True. But the funny thing is, Ozzy kind of was that guy. But I never saw that before that. Because I only saw his, like, as a heavy metal Mount Rushmore god. And later on, I started, like, reading about Ozzy and watching, like, really early interviews and, like, home videos that he's done. And he was that jokester. He was that, like, loving life kind of guy. He was so happy to see everyone and just having conversations. So even though he was heavily drugged during the Osbournes, but still that character is more in line with the real Ozzy Osbourne than the serious heavy metal god that I thought that he was. And it just took me years to understand that. Too Far was my favorite from him. I think my favorite is Miracle Man. It's just a banger of a riff. And the guitar solo is quite nice too. I don't have my guitar here. That's my warm-up song whenever I, like, am planning to play guitar, because it warms up and stretches your hand quite nicely. So Miracle Man is my go-to. And it's such an obscure song again. It's singing, like, about politicians. So it is a really nice banger. What else would be? Of course, the legendary, like, No More Tears, and what's that one song from the 90s? Oh my god, I'm blacking out. There was a song from the 90s that was really, really, really heavy. The guitar solos are like melting cheese in a good toast. It just stretches and nice and delicious. Oh yeah. I think I know all the popular Aussie, like, tunes by heart. Like, No More Tears is also something that I play quite a lot, and Mama, I'm Coming Home is kind of nice as well. I used to hate Crazy Train. And that, like, I think I started loving Crazy Train about 5 years ago. So it took me a while, because it was too popular. I was one of those when I was young. Like, if it's too popular, I hate it. If too many people say it's the greatest song in the world, I hate it. The same happened with Metallica, and the same happened with Iron Maiden and Halloween and Guns N' Roses and all of the bands that I listened to. I used to hate all the popular songs, and I used to listen to the most obscure songs that weren't that popular but were really big bangers. For example, Iron Maiden, there's like Alexander the Great and Stranger in a Strange Land, The Prisoner, 22 Acacia Avenue. I was mix of Crazy Trains years ago, mainly because all of the weird glitches in the audio I could hear. Yeah, I think they had some difficulties during that. I've grown so accustomed to listen to the Zakk Wylde version, so it's really weird to listen to the Randy Rhoads version of the song, because Zakk Wylde's version is kind of completely different. And of course, they detuned for the later, like for the past 20 years, they detuned all the instruments down. I think a whole step. So, because Ozzy couldn't sing that high anymore. Yeah, I could talk about music like all night long, different metal bands, all of that good stuff. Metallica, like that was a weird, like Devil's Dance is one of my favorite songs, and it's from one of the most hated albums of Metallica, which is Reload. Yeah, Devil's Dance is a really obscure banger that they have that not many Metallica fans even know. Well, of course, the hardcore Metallica fans know, but yeah, Devil's Dance was. I'm thinking of being a metal singer because of my vocal stimming I have, and my voice is powerful. 100%. Like, especially nowadays, like, you don't need to go to a studio to record your vocals, and you have all the available tech in like different plugins, and you just need not even the best microphone ever, because a lot of like the mid-price microphones can operate, and there might be like really good like cheap ones as well. And yeah, that's about it. You might want the audio interface like mixer, but that's about it. Like, you don't even have to have that. You can have plugins on your computer, and it kind of serves a purpose. Of course, you want some acoustic panels, so don't echo like my office here. But then again, I don't sing here, so if I sang, I would probably put some acoustic panels around here because it's quite echoing. But 100%, like nowadays, it's a bit easier to start. Me and my brother made one song using my vocals. I modified to sound black to fit the trap I added. Wait. So you modified your voice to sound like an 80s, 90s hip hop artist, or you made your sound like black metal. Okay. I just needed to make sure I understood correctly, because in the metal scene, if you say you go black, it's black metal. So you go like that, Dimmu Borgir, Berserk, the good old growling. So I wanted to see like if it was that, but then I read the trap part at the end, and I was like, that's kind of a hip hop phrase. So, oh yeah. And you have all of these like tools nowadays, like to edit sounds, and you have those different plugins, and all of those are like wildly available for anyone to use. So especially for that, I think like 100%, if you have the voice, even like you don't have to have the perfect voice nowadays. You can like do a lot of magic with editing. So go for it, like 100%. Don't be shy. Let's talk about immigration. I have the music on my channel you can listen to on my YouTube. You can listen to IDMs. Do you have them in your profile as well? I have the music on my channel you can listen to on my... Is your YouTube the same as this? Report? No. need to... Ba-da-ba-ba-da. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. So I think I could find you from this. And they're in the sort section, right? Where is my button to... If I go here and this... Wasn't there a button to watch this later? Am I fucking old? Yeah, there we go. Watch later. Found it. I can give it a listen. I'll never say no to new music. Because I've broadened my musical taste quite a lot since I turned like... I think I started doing that like around 10 years ago. When I was 25-ish. I started just listening to like all different sorts of genre. Before that, I listened to like pure music, which is heavy metal and prog metal and rock and roll and like all of those. And I thought that they're only pure music. And then I started listening to like pop and R&B and soul and just literally anything. Rap, anything. Like, I kind of liked it. And now I can just listen to anything. One of my favorite artists to this day is Lady Gaga. Which is completely wild to think about when we were talking about Ozzy Osbourne and such. Me and you can call ourselves old now. Mentally, I'm 50 in 80 years. Old body over how old is I am old though. I'm 36, so I can call myself old, like legally. But yeah, Lady Gaga is one of my favorite artists at the moment. And it's wild coming from a person who's devoted my life to listening to heavy metal and all of that, but I just value Lady Gaga's talent so much. She's just awesome. And I think like she deserves all the praises she's getting. Although the newest song wasn't that good. The newest single, but she's made a lot of bangers. A lot of bangers.
And the president now says he's pausing all asylum decisions after the shooting near the White House that left one National Guard member dead and another in critical condition. The suspect, an Afghan national who was granted asylum this past April after coming to the U.S. in 2021, now facing a first-degree murder charge. Investigative reporter Olivia Rubin has the latest for us. Hey, Olivia.
Overnight, communities in West Virginia held vigils for two members of the National Guard who were shot in the nation's capital Wednesday. U.S. Army Specialist Sarah Beckstrom was killed, and U.S. Air Force Staff Sergeant Andrew Wolf remains hospitalized in critical condition. Now, an intense investigation underway on the hunt for a motive. They are safe and came to the U.S. suspect taking action in.
All right, so US is going to pause all pending green card applications for 19 countries of concern. But Ireland wasn't one of those countries, so I guess our family green card application is still valid. The United States has paused all pending immigration applications for 19 countries of concern, meaning that even applicants with pending green card applications will be subject to a pause and review following the shooting of the National Guard member in Washington, D.C. A memo from U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services posted on Tuesday say that anyone from a country on the administration's new travel ban list who is in the United States would have their application for asylum or other benefits, including a green card, paused. The Trump administration is making every effort to ensure individuals becoming citizens are the best of the best. Citizenship is a privilege, not a right. We will take no chances when the future of our nation is at stake. The Trump administration is reviewing all immigration benefits granted by the Biden administration to aliens from the countries of concern. I'm in Ireland and it's a piece of shit, not gonna lie, constant rain. Ah, come on, it's not that bad. You should go to you should go to Finland. Finland is way worse when it comes to like weather. Except like that one specific month during the winter where it's like super cold. When it's like -10 to -20 degrees Celsius. That's the perfect weather for a winter. Anything warmer than that, you get snow, you get wet, you get rain, and then the snow is heavy, and then it's just pure miserable. And then you have 2 months in the fall and 2 months in the spring that you have like that. We call it loska, which is a mix of water and snow. There's just frost in my estate. I do enjoy Irish winters because the weather is so nice. You don't really need winter gear. You don't need to like excessively like heat your apartments. Like it's relatively warm, and I kind of like it. I love the rain here. Irish rain is really, really nice compared to a Nordic rain. And it's super hard to describe unless you go to like Norway, Sweden, even Iceland and Finland or Denmark. Denmark is kind of on the brink of it though. But Norway, Sweden, and Finland, if you go there and you experience rain, you understand what I mean. The rain in Finland is super hard and it's super cold. Here, the rain is soft and it's warm. So it's kind of, you can see why I like the rain here, because it doesn't really bother me. It doesn't make me want to run inside immediately. Mayo is caked in snow not far from Lusk. No, it's not. Not saying that I live in Mayo, but no, it's not. I'm still keeping a secret where I live though, but here in the north, it's not that bad. On the news, it's saying it is for my phone. Rain, 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 rain. We don't even go 0 degrees this week. The lowest will be tomorrow, which is 3 degrees. And after that, it's like close to 10 every day. It's fine. It's fine. And it's December. We should have some coldness here, especially here in the north. The funny thing is like the Afghan that shot the wait a second. The National Guard members. He was screened during the Trump administration. Hopefully we don't hit peak cold through when the blizzard happens. As a Finnish person, I have a really good tip when it hits when the cold hits: layering. If you layer properly, you can withstand any cold. And wool socks. If you don't have wool socks, make wool socks. Those are a life changer in the during the winter colds. Wool socks are like a hidden gem that Irish people don't know about. My wife, when we lived in Cork, my wife made wool socks for my colleagues because they've never had ones. Like proper wool socks, like proper 100% wool. And if you put wool socks under normal socks, they actually isolate the warmth. So those are really nice during the winter. I use wool socks all the time. They're just nice they're soft and they don't get dirty as much, and yeah, they're just nice. 100% wool. The 19 travel ban countries include Afghanistan, Burma, Myanmar, Chad, Republic of Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Yemen, Burundi, Cuba, Laos, Sierra Leone, Togo, Turkmenistan, and Venezuela. We all know why Venezuela is in that list. A lot of Irish people don't even know the law changed either. These people have walnut in the... Venezuela on that 19 country list is wild. We know why Cuba and Venezuela is on this list. But Honduras isn't. And I'm not even fully Irish. In a few years, I might get my Irish citizenship and I'll be happy. The pause is in effect until USCIS issues guidance on additional vetting of these nationals, according to a source who has revived the international USCIS documents. Well, considering like Trump just released the Honduran president and the drugs are coming from Honduras, doesn't really be as big of a surprise that Honduras isn't on the list. It should be though. If I am in Ireland, yeah, I told you that. I told you that it's not snowing in Mayo. I lived in Cork like literally for the first 2 years, and now I live a bit more north. Oh shit, I remember seeing you at some point now. I'm really easy to like seen in the wild. I'm 6'3" and I have long hair. So it is not hard to recognize me from the crowd, you know. To be fair, if I did care, I would like be a bit bothered that a lot of people are staring when I walk around, but I don't care that much. I've kind of used to it. But yeah, 6'3" and long hair. It's really easy to find me in an Irish crowd. And it's really easy for the Irish also to realize that I'm not Irish. Which isn't a surprise. I saw you in town at some stage and I told my dad that man looks like Ozzy Osbourne when I was 16. Are you saying we live in the same town? That would be wild though. Would make sense though. The town that I live in now is quite small, which I love. Because I don't like crowded places like Cork. Cork has a bit too many, the population of Cork is too big for me. I would love to live in Galway though. Galway is beautiful. But it's on the brink of like being too big too. Galway is kind of on that level of like, I think Galway has like 100,000 people, right? Lusk is tiny. There's barely any people in my estate anymore. Where the fuck is Lusk? President Trump, ninth cabinet meeting in under 1 year. Biden, 9 cabinet meetings in 4 years. What a difference leadership makes. But I think the major difference between the cabinet meetings are that Trump's cabinet meetings are literally just... Sorry for my French, but they are literally just stroking Trump's dick. They're just praising him like he's the supreme leader and he can do no wrong. This is not like... Nobody is telling any bad news ever, even though there's bad news happening all the time. So I can't really say that's a proper meeting. They're just highlighting all the like good stuff there. Many Western countries today, women are paid less than men for doing the same work. That's how they are today, which is totally unjust. I'm so confused how I managed to predict the US financial collapse a year ago. I mean, if I was a betting man, I would have betted that the US economy is not going to do well. Trump pardoned Democratic Representative Henry Cuellar, who was charged with foreign government bribery. For years, the Biden administration weaponized the justice system against their political opponents and anyone who disagreed with them. One of the clearest examples of this was when Crook Joe used the FBI and DOJ to take out a member of his own party after highly respected Congressman Henry Cuellar bravely spoke out against open borders and the Biden border catastrophe. Sleepy Joe went after the congressman and even the congressman's wonderful wife, Imelda, simply for speaking the truth. It is un-American, and as I previously stated, the radical left Democrats are completely a total threat to democracy. They will attack, rob, lie, cheat, destroy, and decimate anyone who dares to oppose their far-left agenda. Oh my fucking god. Trump, just use a mirror. You're doing exactly the same. I will now transform this to Trump. It is un-American and is previously stated that Trump is a complete and total threat to democracy. Trump will attack, rob, lie, cheat, destroy, and decimate anyone who dares to oppose his Trumpism and MAGA agenda. If Trump is unchecked, he will obliterate our magnificent country. So anything that reads here about the Democrats or the left is applicable for Trump as well. Because of these facts and others, I am hereby announcing my full and unconditional pardoning of beloved Texas Congressman Henry Cuellar. Henry, I don't know you, but you can sleep well tonight. People who have been found guilty of a crime should not be able to pardon other people who have been found guilty of a crime. Trump make the Democrats look intellectual with his dumbass laws and quotes. That is true. All right, let's find out about the crime of this. So let's see what Henry Cuellar did. Federal prosecutors alleged that Cuellar and his wife were involved with two schemes involving bribery, unlawful foreign influence, and money laundering. I think he got the Tate brothers out of prison last, I remember. True. The pair allegedly accepted bribes worth up to $600,000 from two foreign entities, the government of Azerbaijan and the bank in Mexico, in exchange for influence peddling in Congress and in the executive branch. The money was allegedly laundered through shell companies owned by Imelda Cuellar. Cuellar, whose trial has been scheduled to start in April 2026, has maintained his and his wife's innocence. In a post on X, he thanked Trump for taking the time to look at the facts of this case. This pardon gives us clean slate, the noise is gone, the work remains, and I intend to meet it head on, he said. Why is Trump always pardoning criminals? That's one thing I don't really understand. Whether it's the January 6 rioters or it's the drug lords, Trump is the definition of fumbling the wrong bag. Yeah. Let's see how the MAGA actually defends this. Making America great again. Think there's still time to bail out? No, there isn't. More felons spotting if felons to commit more felonies. The Trump way. Maka is so pathetic. But this is exactly like in line with Trump's fan base, which is they don't care about that. Their leader says it's a good thing to pardon this person and they'll be on it. Some Trump defenders, holy Jesus, the lack of brain some of them have. Oh yeah, 100%.
They respect your president to a level that they jokingly call me the president of Europe. They call me the president of Europe, which is an honor. I like Europe and I like those people. They're good people. They're great leaders. And we've never had a case where 7 plus really 28, essentially 38 countries were represented here the other.
What? How many countries were there?
38 people.
Let's let Trump do math.
Good people. They're great leaders. And we've never had a case where 7 plus really 28, essentially 38 countries were represented here the other day. 38 European countries were represented. European and other countries were represented.
Did he just remember that 38 of European countries would be a bit of a high number? I can tell you, 100% of what he said there is total bullshit. His hair looks like he just saw a Robin Redbreast and wore it because he knows he's bald. Everything he stated here, I can now debunk this.
President to a level that they jokingly call me the president of Europe.
They didn't. Nobody called him the president of Europe. I can tell you what happened. This is my theory, that it was Trump's turn to talk. So they said, President Europe. And because he's fucking old and his brain isn't functioning properly. So he probably actually heard President Europe, even though they said that, hey, President Europe, your turn to talk. And now he thinks that they called him the president of Europe. What have I missed? Trump's the president of Europe, according to Trump.
They respect your president to a level that they jokingly call me the president of Europe. They call me the president of Europe, which is an honor. I like Europe and I like those people. They're good people. They're great leaders. And we've never had a case where 7 plus really 28, essentially 38 countries were represented here the other day. 38 European countries were represented. European and other countries were represented.
Wait a second. Wait a second. Do you know why the reason is why he corrected himself? You know the reason why he corrected himself about the number?
7 plus really 28, essentially 38.
The reason why he corrected that they weren't all European countries is because that number 38 would have been 6 of all the European countries. And not all European countries were there. So that's why he added European and other countries.
8 countries were represented here the other day. 38 European countries were represented. European and other countries were.
There you see. He caught up with his own lie and he corrected himself. He knew he fumbled himself midway through the talk to typical Trump fashion. Oh yeah, 100%. Just lie, lie, lie. It's Trump's motto.
America is
God damn, that's loud. Where the fuck is the volume?
strong and respected again on the world stage. We're really respected. In fact, I went to a NATO and they were calling me the president of Europe.
Nope. I would say they again said that President Europe. Well, if he gets there somehow in this crazy world, we are fucked.
We're doing very well. We have a lot of respect. As you know, we have a problem with a war that our people are trying to settle now with Russia.
How the hell does people listen to this? Yabbering idiot. Have you, like, seriously, if you listen to a full speech of Trump, it's like a fever dream, you know? It's like me when I don't have enough coffee. Like, I start from one topic. Let's say if I don't have like enough coffee, my ADHD goes crazy. So I might start talking about Trump. Then all of a sudden there's a topic there. I jump to, let's say, Venezuela. Then all of a sudden from Venezuela I go to Venice in Italy. Then I remember Venice is in Italy, and I start talking about the Roman Empire. Then from Roman empires I go to the gods of like the Romans. Then from there I go to Egypt, because the sun god of the Romans were like kind of related to the Egyptian sun god. And then I go to Cleopatra, who was also, like, you know, of course, Cleopatra was dating, or allegedly married, to Julius Caesar. My dog used to be named after Julius Caesar. My dog is a Dachshund, who, of course, it's German. So then we go back to World War II. This is literally Trump's speeches every time. He jumps from one topic to other. He muddles things. Oh my God, I'm just losing my shit.
America is strong and respected again. On the world stage, we're really respected. In fact, I went to a NATO and they were calling me the president of Europe. We're doing very well. We have a lot of respect. As you know, we have a problem with a war that our people are trying to settle now with Russia and Ukraine.
I have no idea how any of those were like linked together.
The Caribbean boat strikes, the administration has acknowledged that there was a second strike in that attack in September, but they have not said if there were any defenseless survivors. Should they release the video to Congress, the unedited video to Congress and to the American public? And two, if the defenseless survivors were killed, would that constitute...
I have to give Mike Johnson some like praises, because Mike Johnson sucks ass better than anyone else. One person I don't envy is Mike Johnson's partner, because they're probably really lonely. Trump is the entire reason I just found out how close to doomsday we are. I just talked about that like a while back in my stream, and I made some TikToks about it. Like, we haven't had a peaceful decades for like forever. Out of the 3,500 years of recorded human history, there was only 268 individual years out of the 3,500 that's been completely peaceful, without no armed conflicts or wars. 268 out of 3,500 years. And that's a sad statistic. And we think of ourselves as an intellectual species and a really developed species compared to like animals. But we are no better than animals. His economic crashing is the main reason why a lot of it's happening to, like, my God. Oh yeah. And he runs the economy of the United States. He runs it with like popularity vote. So let's take Canada, for example. Trump made a deal with Canada because the Prime Minister of Canada said good things about Trump. So Trump lowered all the tariffs away. Then the Prime Minister of Canada said that Trump is an idiot. No, well, not necessarily, I'm just paraphrasing, but said some bad things about Trump. So Trump decided to throw the 100% tariffs on Canada. Literally swapping those like within 2 weeks of each other. The same thing happened with Europe. A lot of European leaders said bad things about them. So Trump thinks Europe is just one big country. So he decided to declare that the whole Europe tariff is higher, which doesn't make sense. The Nobel Peace Prize Committee didn't include Trump as a nominee for a Nobel Peace Prize. So he increased the tariffs on Norway, even though Norway had nothing to do with the Nobel Peace Prize Committee. But because the Nobel Peace Prize Committee is based in Norway, Trump doesn't differentiate those things, because like if your IQ is below, if your IQ is single digits, it's hard to differentiate countries, and also differentiate an institution and a country. An institution based on a country with its country. He just spent €879 just for himself. Oh yeah. Trump seems to think money is everything, which is just wrong. I mean, he is a pure capitalist, and he needs to make as much money as he can because he knows he has a limited amount of time. Also, whenever the power is shifted again, all of these who are in the Trump administration, they know they are gonna face the Justice Department. That's why they are trying to cling on to power as much as possible. Push through as many laws, as many amendments as they can, because their time is limited. The things that they are doing are fucking shady. And they know that. It's unfortunate for the American people. Like, Americans aren't...
So, according to the No Kings website, these are all the countries that are having No Kings protests, you know, in solidarity with America to make sure that we don't end up with a king. I'm betting some of you have spotted the problem already. Yeah, 3 of these countries have a fucking king.
Well, as usual, the older millennium didn't do his research, because these protests are called...
Totally not a cult. Holy hell, JFK is probably looking at him like, yo, chuckle nuts, why you dodged that bullet? No, we can't say that. I don't wish anyone to die. That is like, I'm also a hardcore pacifist, which means that I don't believe a single human, like no human has the right to kill another person. The only person who can take a life, the only person that they can take your life is yourself. I don't have the right to take another person's life. That other person doesn't have the right to take another person's life. No, they can only take themselves. I don't have the authority over your life. You shouldn't have the authority over my life. The only one that has authority over my life is myself. It's canon that most presidents do die if they fail or succeed at something law distinctive wise. Drone guy, what about Charlie Kirk? The masturbator, according to South Park. Nothing, just on the topic of life. Okay. I love that episode. I found it fucking hilarious. But I have to watch the newest one, that when they made fun of Pete Hegseth. Have you seen those clips? Pete Hegseth. How to pronounce right his South Park.
Yeah! Hey, what's up, guys? This is Pete Hegseth, the Department of War!
So we'll keep swinging away for you. Thanks for letting us share the morning with you. Appreciate you guys.
You're messing with the Department of War! And we mean business! We don't stand down for anyone! Be sure to like and subscribe! All right, let's do this!
You are...
The only thing that would make that better would if Pete Hegseth was drunk all the time. Okay, that first comment from Cartmanism. Why does the US government need to post memes like damn Redditor? I do agree with that.
What's up, guys? Pete Hegseth, Department of War! We've got got the narco-terrorists on the run and we're gonna take them out! Yeah!
I loved all the recent Trump stuff they've done. I'm currently on my 12th coffee right now. I literally love that they brought Saddam Hussein back as Trump. That's the funniest shit ever.
Hell yeah!
And heads up, don't just make a bunch of content. Like, actually go and do something.
Be sure to like and subscribe, guys. Well, for once I agree with
You remind me of somebody I used to date. Oh no. I forgot that South Park actually humiliated Trump in one of their episodes. Satan. Oh yeah, like, but to be fair, South Park has made fun of everyone. It's kind of Trump's own fault that South Park is now making fun of Trump. And it's so fucking hilarious that Trump doesn't get the joke. And it's so hilarious that Trump doesn't have a sense of humor. And because Trump doesn't have a sense of humor, his fans can't have a sense of humor. You know, if this was any other president, the MAGA people and his fans would be laughing their ass off. But because Trump said that this is not funny and South Park is not funny, the MAGA people can't be watching South Park and enjoying themselves, even though I would argue that they want to do that. That's such a cult that they need to obey every single word that Trump is saying. Oh yeah, that's true. Now I actually put up the pieces together because Satan said to Trump that you remind me of somebody I used to date. True. That is true. Okay, that's gonna be enough. It's coming 9 o'clock in the evening already. Hey, thanks for keeping me company in Indigenous Redemption and Dronkai, and also Pritchard and Bloody Farts in the beginning of the stream in YouTube. Love it. We're gonna continue this again. Tomorrow's gonna be an off day, but we're back on Friday, unless something groundbreaking happens tomorrow. Like that's I'm on the watch every day. If there's something like, for example, if the United States decide to attack to Venezuela tomorrow, then I'll be live. But other than that, I'll be probably okay. But hey, have a great rest of the evening. Have a great rest of the day wherever you are. Take care, guys.